Hi there, I'm Brenda Tucker-Jeffries, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about September 11th, 2001. Where were you and what do you remember? I explicitly remember where I was that day. I was inside of a management training conference that morning, and it was time for me to take a break. So I got up out of the room, walked to the cafeteria to get something to drink, and walked back through a room that was attached to the training area that had televisions inside of it. It was a pretty nice sized room. I would say it could hold like over 100 people at tables with chairs. But I noticed when I walked back through that room that it was full of people, but the room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. So people were attached to the television, and I said to myself, what is it that they could be watching that, has them so intensely watching this television and no one in the room is talking? So I took a look at the television and I saw this picture of this plane hitting this building, this tower. And I said out loud, what kind of movie is this? I've never seen this movie before. And there were a couple of people standing next to me. They didn't say a word. They turned and looked at me as if to say, you don't know what's going on. And I figured, okay, let me get out of the room. I don't want to interrupt their thought process. I need to get back to my class. So as soon as I got in the class and sat down, that's when we got the message that the towers had been attacked by planes actually deliberately running into the towers. And that's when I said to myself, oh my God, that wasn't a movie, that was actually happening. So immediately after that, people just started getting up, running out of this room, trying to figure out what they were going to do. How were they going to get home? Because a lot of these people, even though they were in Washington, D.C. at the time at this management training conference, didn't live in Washington, D.C., including me. And by the time I got out of the room and everybody was trying to make arrangements to get to where they needed to be, I said, well, let me just sit down for a bit and try and figure out what's going on here. And so I ended up calling a taxi to take me back to my hotel, which wasn't in DC, it was actually in Pentagon City. So by the time I got to the hotel, I stopped at the desk and asked them if they could arrange for me to get a taxi, because I was going to go back downtown to Washington, D.C. to check out train schedules, because I realized that there wasn't too much of anything going on with trying to get out on a plane. People were trying to get cars and they couldn't get cars. Reservations were all taken up. And so the only way I figured I could get out of town was to go and get the train schedule and get on the train to come back to Chicago. So I did get a taxi, went down to Union Station, and as I was walking in to like the cashier to pay for a ticket, I realized that there was this big crowd of people trying to figure out how they were going to get a ticket. But there were two different lines, and there was one line for cash and another line was for credit cards and other forms of payment. And I noticed that the cash line was moving pretty swiftly, but this other line that people were standing in with their credit cards and their checkbooks wasn't going anywhere. So then I got in the cash line, and before you know it, I was in and out of the cash line, had my ticket, and was ready to go back to the hotel to leave the next day. So even though I was in total shock along with everybody else, there is one thing that I remember to this very day about that day, and that was that as I was paying for my ticket to get home, I realized that in moments like that, cash is king. That's my topic for today. Till next time, bye-bye for now.